What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Jedi Jive. My name is Mike. Joining us again is Jenny.
Hey, guys.
Jenny, so glad to have you back. It's been a minute,
I'm
guys.
glad to be here.
It's been I feel like a couple months since we've done a legitimate reaction series on this channel. So glad to be back. You first came onto this channel, thank God, for, because, we really, at Jedi Jive, we love you guys. This is a Star Wars channel, but really, you came on here to help me do some Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
And we started with WandaVision, and there was just this long string of Marvel shows. WandaVision, Falcon, Loki, Hawkeye, Moon Knight,
yeah.
She-Hulk. Like we've just, and every single one has had their own flavor. We just talked about this beforehand, where there's the central character usually, and this is basically the Nick Fury shit.
I'm into it. Bring me Samuel L. Jackson.
I asked you yesterday. I was like, "What's probably the best stuff to watch before this to kind of get prepared?" I didn't watch anything. You did,
I
but it
rewatched
was
Captain Marvel, which was helpful, I think.
anything with Nick Fury in it,
Yeah.
I guess, is probably. But we'll have to wait and see and watch. Every episode is an hour long, so these are meaty episodes that are probably going to have plenty of room for suspense. It looks very suspenseful and thrilling, and like you said, very action-packed, lots of explosions. And one thing that makes Nick Fury unique is obviously the fact that he's human, right?
Yep.
Doesn't have any superpowers.
Yep.
Other than just like his interconnectedness and everybody knows him. And he's just one of those characters where it's like, who doesn't know Nick Fury?
Yeah.
He somehow, despite having no superpowers and just being like an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., right, is somehow kind of one of the more powerful people in the Marvel Universe, just in terms of who he knows and the strings he can pull and the places he can go and he's just a very powerful guy that knows a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out in this and how it's going to differ from the other Marvel shows in that regard, and that we don't have some crazy superpower to be let's wait until Nick Fury gets his powers. No, he's already Nick Fury. It's going to be more about the storytelling and what's going on with the Skrull invasion and how that. I'm excited just to see what happens. It looks like it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
I'm not entirely sure what to expect, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, is it going to be reaction heavy, or how much comedy is going to be involved? Because this is Marvel after all. It looks serious and thrilling and suspenseful. But come on, Samuel L. Jackson, there's gonna be a joke or two here. There has to be
zingers in there, you know.
And then we were also talking about obviously in these scenarios, we love cameos. This is a reaction channel. When people show up, you don't build these shows off of we're just gonna pepper in this character and this character. That's not why we're here. But with that said, we do love it when that happens.
It would be good to get a good
somebody unannounced
reveal.
or some character you're not expecting, or some unexpected cameo celebrity or whatever that you're oh yay, we had Jack Black and Lizzo in Star Wars. It was just
so
what
random.
is this? So I'm always looking forward to that kind of stuff, guys. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump in. We'll watch this first episode, have some fun, and we'll talk about it after.
All right. Present day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't move.
We got Martin Freeman already.
Mm-hmm. And we know Maria Hill's in this too, right?
Yeah, she.
What if the ones closest to us, the ones we've trusted our whole lives, were someone else entirely?
What exactly are you talking about?
Chaos. And that's only the beginning.
I'm surprised they don't have the red string connecting everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Carol Danvers and Nick Fury promised to find them a new planet. Now they don't want just any planet. They want ours. They're the same. Skrulls could be anybody, anywhere, at any time.
I need to give him something more than just theories. I need evidence.
All these other attacks, they would be nothing compared to this.
Prescott, look, I'm here to help, okay? So let me take this.
It's not Wilson.
And I'll give the information.
That's a Skrull.
It's gotta be, right?
He just gave away valuable. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He knows it.
Skrull.
Uh-oh.
I need an extract.
Wait, that's Maria Hill.
Yeah.
Academica Metro Station, 6 blocks northeast.
And Ross.
Or Maria Hill's the Skrull too. I'm already who's who? Cool cinematography.
Yeah, very cool. It's reminiscent of the scene in Captain Marvel when they're in the records room and the lights keep flashing on as they move.
Rukia! Talos! What the hell are you doing here?
I'm chasing him.
He's a Skrull.
Yep.
Can't trust anybody. Yeah. Very cool intro. Classic alien on the spaceship, like, but it's just gonna be.
It's gonna be Nick Fury.
Yeah. As usual, we got studio lights in our face and we can't see.
So it's very dark. We can't see anything.
Yeah. I think this is supposed to be very dark.
Welcome back to Earth.
Is that from home?
Santa Milica. That's a Skrull sky plant. Sorry, she brought the seed with her wherever she went. It's changed since she planted it. It's adapted to the planet.
That's the Skrull greeting.
Soren loved you,
Oh, he lost his wife.
but she worries, mate, that it would take something like this to bring you back to Earth. And
Oh.
Carol Danvers disappeared, and so did Gaia.
Hold it. Your daughter disappeared to where?
Gravik is now the newest member of the Skrull Council. He preys on the collective rage of young, displaced Skrulls. Skrulls are immune to radioactivity, and Russia has the most abandoned nuclear plants on Earth.
Well, Gravik's trying to start a war between Russia and the United States.
And that was Prescott's theory.
If he succeeds, your species will cease to exist.
So, no pressure.
Going for a walk.
You're going for a walk in Moscow at night.
Oh, you're gonna stand out.
Saber.
Well, I could try to think of a different word.
Dermot Mulroney
Yeah.
is the president.
Apparently.
Given the fact that I could reach neither Agent Hill nor Agent Fury, they were effectively AWOL.
So is Rhodey like chief of staff to the president now?
I was about to ask that, then I'm like, but then again, he's also still Rhodey, so he may just be like
A
he's
military
head Avenger in charge.
contact or something, but
But yeah, he was wearing a suit, so it's kind of like,
Right.
yeah, he is kind of a suit now, huh?
eyes are everywhere.
Дочка, что ты тут делаешь? Иди домой.
It's like,
That's suspicious.
but still,
Makes
it's
me
like,
think of like Men in Black, where like the
Exactly
little
my
girl
thought.
is the one that's actually the threat.
yeah, it's
you
like
know?
little girl, 8-year-old white girl,
Oh,
middle of the
oh.
ghetto.
Large black man, Moscow. Well, it could either be Nick Fury or the ghost of Paul Robeson. Ah, damn, and I was hoping for a command performance of Old Man River.
Good to see you too, Sonia.
Red Sonja, huh? That's
Surface of mediocrity.
pretty straightforward.
You're finally putting it all together. Well done. Okay, that'll do.
I love her so much.
What do you know about a heist at a black market storage facility in Kazakhstan?
Doesn't ring a bell.
You know, I may not know when a Skrull is pretending to be a human, but I sure as hell know when a human is lying.
The fact that you don't know tells me all I need to know about this new, rather old Nick Fury. I think Thanos' snap changed you. Taught you that no matter how hard you fight for what's right, there's always someone stronger to undermine you. You're in no shape for this fight that lies before us. I'll have one of my thugs drop you back at the safe house.
Take your natural form.
Oh, is it like a Skrull refugee camp?
Okay, Khaleesi, what are you up to?
Welcome to New Skrullos.
Okay. Now I'm already wondering, is she good or bad?
Right, exactly.
Or was it like
She has some
Skrull
Skrull
favorite
delicacy?
snacks? Yeah.
Skrull produce here.
Yeah.
Drink Skrull wine.
Okay, that feels like a good guy scenario. Like she's cares about them finding a home.
What's your name? Warrior. What is your fight?
Skrullos.
What is your dream?
Home. In my own skin.
Bring in the shell.
Oh.
Are they killing the people they sim?
Yep.
Americans against Russia.
Wow.
The problem is, like I said, they have a real grievance. They have no home, but at the same time, it's this sort of us first mentality that doesn't care about anybody else's literal human rights.
Mm-hmm.
We go tomorrow, and we don't stop until Earth is ours.
You. Come with me.
Oh! That's Gaia. That's Telos's daughter. She's joined the rebellion, the insurgency.
You're right. Holy crap.
And no one else.
And that's gonna cause a rift between them.
Yeah.
Because she's yeah.
Prey on people.
I said no.
I get that him fighting his own fight thing is gonna come back too.
Yeah,
they
for
just
sure.
set that up.
Last warning!
It's what you always say, but there's always another.
Gaia. Her last words? Fine, Gaia.
What?
She's dead.
Oh, she didn't know.
Why'd you come back?
It followed me up there. And I owe it to Talos.
You're not ready for this, Fury. So check your footing. Otherwise, someone's gonna get hurt.
Your mom would be very proud of you, you know?
Tomorrow, there are 3 couriers, including me, on markage back with infrared spray.
Got one carrier going northeast. The other one's south. Let's move.
Bro.
Called that one.
Ominous music playing. It says, yeah, ominous girl with a ball. Come play with us. Don't follow the creepy child down the corridor. Yeah, they can look like anybody.
Could be anybody.
It's empty. No decoys.
Yeah, Gaia lied to him.
Bill!
Dude, what?
What?
Oh.
Or is she the Skrull too?
No. Oh.
No, she blood red.
Oh, it's just a Skrull pretending to be Fury.
Yeah.
Okay, no wait, she's dead.
Good grief. Damn.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, that dang. Good grief is right. Almost feel like
Yeah, and they gave her special guest star status.
Very interesting first episode.
Yeah, that ending was very unexpected.
Yeah, unexpected in the I was like, no, they're not gonna kill Maria Hill, just like right there in the first episode, like kind of unceremoniously, just you're dead. But yeah, no.
Yeah, the big wow moment for me this episode was the moment I realized who Gaia was. That was Talos' daughter. I was like, whoa, mind blown.
Yeah, if you hadn't said that, I might have just. It seems kind of obvious when you said, "Oh yeah, duh." But then they didn't specifically make it official until he was in the
in the sewer or
with
the
her and,
subway or wherever they were.
So I mean, that was kind of supposed to be like a reveal that you kind of like figured out just
Right.
to do, like, oh yeah, he mentioned her. And so there were a few of those in this episode where it was clearly like, oh, okay, this makes sense that this is the first episode. That's clearly a seed. That's clearly a seed. And even the like very literal seed of a plant.
Of the plant that the mom planted.
Because right when he was mentioning that plant, I was like, this is already feeling like something that's being set up to come back again later.
It's definitely going to. I feel like that's going to be one of the things that changes her mind.
The catalyst that makes her have memories of her mom.
Right. Not only is it something that reminds her of her mother, potentially, but it's the metaphor of the plant that adapts to its new environment. And
yes.
Because he was talking about how the plant has changed and become different since he planted it here. So that's, I mean, obviously very on the nose.
Yeah. And then, the whole concept of, like, with Skrulls being able to impersonate anybody, like, and you are, like, right from the start, you get that feeling of, like, you can't trust anybody, you don't know who's who, any character, anybody can be a Skrull.
At any time.
Yeah, and we've had that before, in Captain Marvel, where it's, like, who's really a Skrull and who isn't.
Yeah.
But then also, characters that aren't Skrull, well, I mean, I'm sorry, not that aren't Skrulls, but, like, Gaia, for instance, is, like, it's Talos' daughter, and they have like their relationship, and like on the surface you're like, oh, okay, she's giving him this information. There's this like they met, in that alleyway or whatever, and it was like she's giving him information, but then it quickly becomes evident that no, she's giving him wrong information, and she is. So there's the like double agentness of like being a Skrull and being a human, but then there's also like the double agentness of like pretending to be somebody's friend and also not being somebody's friend. So there's a lot of that gray area of not just who's who, but like who's loyal to who.
Well, and then the like cruel irony of having someone with Nick Fury's face be the one to shoot Maria Hill. That's awful. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's definitely a setup episode, and it already feels like a movie in that way.
Yeah, I agree. And we've already seen in this episode multiple characters who we know and love being impersonated by Skrulls. We saw Ross in the opening scenes. We saw Nick Fury. So already we're seeing sort of how impossible it is to tell who's who, or how confusing this is going to be.
Yeah, and then like you were mentioning there's the very real like, in terms of gray area and things not being black and white, like the Skrulls are invading and they're like bad guys and they're willing to like kill people, but also like they need a planet. They have like a very real, like you said, grievance, as you said, or like they're.
Well, it's a political allegory, really, but it's about how these people have a genuine problem that hasn't been addressed, that someone promised to help them and then didn't help them, or didn't follow through, or wasn't able to follow through for whatever reasons, mainly because the blip happened and priorities shifted, I think. But so their needs are real, their grievance is real, but this idea of being like us first, we only think about ourselves, that's not the way to live.
Yeah.
They're taking, and when I say human rights, it's funny because we're talking about actual humans' human rights, but they're denying human rights to these people that they're simming, that they're impersonating, locking them up in the little mind erasy things.
Yep.
And they're trying to take over a planet that's already inhabited. They're colonizers.
Yeah.
So they're refugees, but they're simultaneously trying to be colonizers. It's very complicated.
They give you like a little glimpse into like when she first lets that refugee guy behind the gates or whatever, and he gets in the car with her, with Gaia, and she like gives him the food that he hasn't had for however long from their home planet, and he's like, and he eats it, and it's very like there's a moment of like, okay, well, they're not bad guys.
Right.
She does care about the refugee.
Right.
She wants to like. It's not all about like F humans and F Earth. It's like, no, we're trying to save our own people.
There are children there, and families and everything. So there's one sense.
Yeah, and keep in mind the Kree did like massacre them and like their home planet.
Right.
Is
There's
destroyed.
one sense in which this is a genuine refugee camp, but there is a faction within that camp that's becoming radicalized, effectively.
Yeah.
And going to extremes.
So that's where you can see that like Gaia is she is a good person. She's just working for bad people and doesn't have that like. It's not like she's definitely not gonna help her father. It's that she's just gonna have to see certain things in order to like. So there's that crisis of faith crisis, because when he mentioned their mother or something, right? He said something. Oh wait, no, she said
her last words were "Find Gaia."
I was talking about when Maria Hill was talking to Nick Fury, and she was like, "What made you leave? Or why did you leave us to begin with?" He's like, "I had a crisis of faith." Right, so it's like that. I think that crisis of faith theme is definitely important here too. Where it's like not just, it's like where do your loyalties lie?
And you get a sense that like Gravik, for instance, is a true extremist, whereas she's maybe working out her own personal issues through this group that she's joined. And she's clearly got some issues still to work through in herself.
Yeah, but you know what, great guys. This is it's not necessarily like a super reaction heavy thing for us right at the moment. There's definitely a few things in there where there was a couple comedic lines, but in general, this was a pretty straightforward setup, a little bit of suspense. At one point, I was even going to say, like, the music almost reminds me of Men in Black, with like that sort of Danny Elfman kind of, like, it had that espionage, because this is espionage, but it had
Russia,
that. Yeah, I don't know. It felt very. But also because like you mentioned Men in Black too, where it's like people, like aliens pretending to be humans, like it did almost have that kind of like agents dealing with aliens and on Earth, and when it showed Gravik sitting there, he was taking like sugar cubes and dropping them in his coffee, and he was doing like all this extra sugar, and the first thing that came to my mind, I was like, when Tommy Lee Jones is like, what kind of aliens like eating sugar or whatever, and it was like just
Egger.
the idea, Egger. And Edgar is in a suit pretending to be another human. I just felt like very Men in Black-y.
The first thing, when we saw that first little girl in the earlier scene with the ball in the street at night, that was my immediate thought was Men in Black, the training exercise where the one threat is like the little girl.
Okay, so clearly like a couple Men in Black references.
And then we saw another little girl or a little girl again, and with a ball. I was like, this clearly
she about to start some shit, Zed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's funny. I agree. That's definitely that made me think of that too, guys. I'm excited to get into some more of these episodes. The fact that I think they're all this length. I read that they were all an hour long. We have had some timing differences in some other shows where sometimes it's 50, sometimes it's 40.
Right.
There can be some I'm sure there will be a little bit of a variance in there, but in general, an hour-long episode does give you more of that movie feel.
Yeah.
And in this case, when you have 6 episodes, you can really take your time. You don't have to you can really spread things out.
And to be fair, there are a lot of movie stars in this show, so you want to make best use of them and give them scope to exercise their talents.
Wow, so Maria Hill is dead. That's that. Yeah. There's probably going to be a fair amount of death in this show, I would think, before there's anything happy that happens, if anything does. But hey, looking forward to it, guys. We want to know what you thought about this. We're looking forward to doing reacting to the next episodes. Do you have any sort of major predictions you think that are...
I have no idea, honestly, what to expect.
No.
I wouldn't have predicted half of what went on in this episode, so I'm just kind of along for the ride.
Nice. Cool, guys. Let us know what you thought about this first episode in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see the reactions fully unedited, go over to patreon.com/JediJive. That's where we put them up. We'll see you in the next reaction, guys.
Peace.
Peace.